everyone, Katie here. I am sorry that I have a little direct sunlight here, but I did have the blinds all the way open and that was not going to be good at all. But the sun's going to be moving a little bit, but I think I have this kind of dialed in. It's really nice light right now with the blinds like half closed. So I'm going to take this as a win and plan for my projects here. So if you are new here, I am taking a 2025, let's see if you can see that kind of reflected there, sterling ink. It's full year compact. And this is just a really cheap cover. I'm just protecting the outside right now. It just feels good to have something there. I haven't even tried to put it in there, but I am going through and, well, I put this paper in like when I first thought I would use it, and then I didn't touch it. So then I also went to my sticker collection and I have all my 2024 sterling inks that I collected over that year. And I put in, I'm trying to use up my 2024 stickers. That's what I'm trying to say. And so I'm going month by month. And I put these all in because I absolutely loved how these looked next to each other, fanned out. That's my first video, and they're linked down below. But like, how gorgeous is that if May will pop out for me? So I did that throughout. And I also even put the following January 25 in here. I have a theory. I was wondering if the 2024 stickers that she put out, if the planner had one more row, like if she altered the A5, because starting in January, they started to fit here. And so all these other ones seem like one square. I mean, if it's kind of rounded like this, it's great, you know. And that one looks like it fits, but it has kind of an ambiguous top to it. So that's just my theory. And then this one's a little shorter, so maybe it could have come down. I don't know. I'm not worrying about where they are right now. I'm just like, they're in here. That's great. But some of them, I mean, that's really pretty how it just comes down further. But like this one has the very top, but it seems to be like one square longer. I don't know. I thought, wait, what if there was a difference between the 24 and the 25? I don't have a 24. Anyway, I'm getting a little off topic. So what I am doing, if you have caught my previous ones, and actually I just filled this out before starting this, was I am picking a month and I am imagining an alternate version of myself. So this is based on me, but it's almost like I'm writing a character in a book about me that would be somebody else that has a different life. So in January, I definitely was on track to becoming a photographer. I went to school for photography. I did it in high school, and then I went to art school for it. And halfway through, I was like, this didn't feel right. So then I went into interactive media because the web was getting big at that point. Yeah, it was like 20 years ago. But yeah, it kind of changed course for me. So this is pretending to be a New York photographer. So that's my other video that I have done before. So, and I mainly just showed these spreads. I just went through and I wanted to play with the layout and have something kind of dark and almost mystical to it, which kind of was my launch pad to during college. I think it's kind of going to art school. You're a bit emo, you're a little mystical, you're a little figuring yourself out. But this is kind of like, no, I solidly kind of planted myself in that and then took off with that. So I just kind of went through and imagined this different life. And ended up taking a train to London. I was living in New York, took a train to London, And also in that process, I said kind of goodbye to this character, to this facet of myself. It's kind of more of a persona. And then I thought, what am I doing with these months? Well, I went through and I just added everything that was in the weeks here. And I was like, oh, wow, she was a busy girl. She was busy. And it was cool to actually see this filled up this way. So I definitely want to keep doing that. And ultimately, my goal is to have this as kind of like a fancy sticker book of sets that I don't want to use in my current planner, but they are kind of solidified in this book and I can kind of archive it. But it's kind of grown into this thing of looking at different goals in my life and seeing if maybe any of them are relevant today. Like I'm kind of curious as I go through here of like, maybe there's something from each of these personas that I still want to do in a small way. It could be just small things. So, and I also had a little idea of kind of intertwining them a little bit. So like meeting myself, but we'll see. We'll see. So anyway, this was my January. And I also expanded a little bit and I put the monthly stickers in these quarterly up here. They do all match and they do take different forms. At first I started with taking, like, this was a standard size of in the sampler. I think it was the sampler in her sticker kits. And so those kind of matched. But then I didn't have them for others, so I just kind of put in like ones that captured that feeling. And this one was like really vertical, but it did fit. And I don't have many for this one, so this is all that turned out to be. I also don't have, so I looked at February, and February is going to be 4 weeks instead of the 5 weeks, I think, that I did for January. And I only have these. Like, this is all I have. So we're going to make it work. But I also gave myself an out and put this one here. And this is from the 25. So this is the only month that, maybe November. Maybe I'll have to look at November because that one's pretty sparse as well here. But the other ones I have a decent amount. So I gave myself permission to possibly dig into these a little bit, maybe just like the little ones, because they do coordinate rather well. I was surprised when I got them that these pinks kind of go really well, and like the tans here, the beiges. I'm going to try not to, though. Not that I'm being precious about this set. I mean, I could use it. It would be kind of nice. I did also take out the other 2025s from my collection. I'm trying to use up everything of 24. So, and I'll do kind of like a wrap up at the end of the series. So I'm just thinking, and here is where I was going to like write a little bit about the person, that persona, like here. I'm not sure what to put here yet, but as you can see, I'm kind of going back a little bit and going, okay, I'd like to fill these out. I'd like to put a little info here on the quarterlies. I don't think I'm going to do anything here or here, unless this is going to be like a reflection at the end. This could be a complete reflection thing. This, I have no idea. I'm not going to worry about it, but I am trying to kind of fill this out because to me, it's also kind of like, what if I just use sterling ink entirely for the full year? I'm not using any washi tape. I don't think. No, I don't think so. I may use, I'm going to give myself another out, I guess, besides February, is I do have some old sterling ink washi tape that if it just happens to go, it has a little of the silver like on it, but it's really plain. And so if there's a month that just feels right for it, then sure. So I'm trying to see if I should start on the weeklies and then go back to the monthly. So this next persona, that I'm picturing, maybe I'll just start on the weekly, because usually, again, this is still kind of myself. This is not like a complete other character that I've never I can't relate to at all. This is like a good third to half still very solidly me. So as I'm looking at this persona, I am trying to take inspiration from the actual artwork. So there's a lot of detail here. There's a lot of noticing the details. There's a lot of structure here. Kind of almost has a traditional feel to it, and kind of staying within the boxes, but also kind of exploding out of them in a way too, right? So I don't know. That's just kind of where I'm at with that. The mosaic kind of feel here is, very detail oriented. Like I'm trying to see, not that one. Well, I guess the butterflies aren't, but some of these flowers have that mosaic detail to them. So I thought at one point I did want to become like an accountant or bookkeeper. And I actually do a lot of my own bookkeeping. When I moved to the Netherlands, I did have to hire an accountant because it's completely different here. And we're, not completely. That's not right. It's very similar in a lot of ways, but there's a lot more things to keep track of. And also, if you hear some water, they are washing our windows today, and I'm very happy about that, but you might just hear like a metal bang or some water dripping. No big deal. I want to get this done. So I'm thinking it's a person who really got more, all of her sets have flowers in them, right? So, and I guess that's what drew me to her sticker kits to begin with. I've always been into botanicals, and I'm trying to kind of think of like, should I take this literally and have like an accountant plus someone who does like tile work, like little mosaic work? I'm just thinking like, or even stained glass work. Maybe it's stained glass. It doesn't quite have that stained glass feel though. So anyway, I'm going to start off with the accountant part. Like I'm struggling a little bit with this because I don't have a lot. I'm hoping that these long stickers actually bring a lot more into this spread. I want to do some mapping out. So as opposed to here's a bunch of travel days for this persona, I'm thinking this is more like, I didn't ever want to be a tax person because this time of year, well, I'm actually thinking of February for this person. And so it's not April, it's not like during that busiest time. And this will actually be the March version of the persona. So I feel like when I do my own bookkeeping, there's a rhythm to it, right? I try to do it on certain days, but I have only one person's account that I'm doing. So when you have a bunch of clients, you're kind of waking up and doing several throughout the day. But I think she has kind of like another side quest here, and it has to do with like the tile work. I think there's something to it where it's something that kind of relaxes her or allows her to be creative while still like sticking to the repetitive work. I do like to do repetitive work when it's at this cadence that I know what to expect. That's part of my autistic side of just like the stability of it, the predictability of it. Every client's going to have kind of different needs, but as you line them up, there's a lot of security there. There's a lot of foundational work there, helping people get set up. And then it's kind of like this paced, here, I'm going to go through your books like once a week, once a month, depending on how busy the business is. And working with small businesses is just a lot of fun. I did a lot of that when I was making websites for people. But when I would do that, I would meet them, I would get to know them. But then there was this whole creative side of like, okay, what do you want your colors to be and your branding and the feeling that you want to evoke and the trustworthiness and the, ease of getting through your site and delivering the information that's really important. So I feel like that's not that creative side that's always within me isn't quite there. And so there's this creative side that she wants to explore. So I'm going to put on, I think I'm going to map it out here, and you'll see me working on that and then the spreads of just where everything's at. And then I'm going to fill it in a little bit more. So this is going to be the structure part of things this one's hard. This one's a lot harder because I feel like there's this missing element. And I think as I go through, I'm going to discover that. And that's what I want to show in these videos a bit is I don't have this completely sketched out. There's a lot that I have, but there's little details here that I feel are going to settle in just like this. I felt like I was running around the city a bit. I was going to galleries. I was going to movie night. I was connecting with friends. This is going to be a lot calmer and a little bit more small town. I did have a town associated with this, but let me come back after I fill some of this in because I think I need to kind of feel into it. I have March a little bit more solidified in my mind, but this one I'm feeling into. So let me kind of fill this all out and I'll get back to you. So you'll see everything after all the stickers are kind of laid out. Be right back. Okay, so you will see that my light has shifted a little bit. The sun has moved. I can open up the blinds now. So this was interesting. I found, let's see, if we go to the month, I did find that I can dive deeper into this persona. Sorry, I was like, what am I calling it? Persona. This was kind of like an overview. So I'm just putting appointments and I'm putting my work weeks. So this is like a work week. I'm envisioning this version of myself of having an on and off schedule. And so I'm transitioning from creative and downtime and bookkeeping time. And then these are, actually, I should label these real quick. I labeled it as, now these don't occur on these weekends, but I know they are Portland. Sorry, I realized I didn't say where this was. So this version of me is in Portland, Oregon. This is a place that I grew up, and I could see myself, staying there. I think at the time when I was considering accounting, it was something I was doing in Portland, and so I wouldn't have made that jump to art school in another state. So I don't know. I find that kind of in line with what would happen. Now, the second one, Art in the Pearl, actually happens, I think, over a holiday weekend, maybe Memorial Day weekend, it said. Let's see. Labor Day weekend, sorry. So that's in September, actually. But Art in the Pearl. But she would also be doing like Saturday market down there, which is only on Saturdays. And I thought at one point they had opened it up, but then I think probably through COVID times and I think they shut it down a little bit more. So I don't know the exact state of it right now, but actually let me, is it open on Sundays? No. Okay. I went to their official website there. So she's a person who's doing bookkeeping, but then also doing these mosaics. So I definitely felt into the mosaic feel here. She's has an assistant for these craft shows. So there's a reason. Sorry, I'm clicking over again so I can see what I'm doing here. So because how do I explain this? I wanted her to have my same chronic illnesses because, I probably would have had very similar. I don't think, so PCOS and Crohn's is what I live with right now. And I don't think I would have been a different person in this realm. It would have been like, yeah, I'm still living in Portland, but I'm still having those same issues. And so, those conditions, sorry, it's nothing you can do about it, right? And so I'm seeing a dietitian, a specialist, I'm having blood draw. That's very similar to how I'm living now, or did at least in the last 5 years. And so because of those things, sometimes I do have some joint issues. And so on the weeklies, I actually put together these little trackers, because I did used to track a lot more. And I like all the space around here and that it's really simple. And I did try to write smaller because I think this is a more meticulous version of me. And just, I don't know, I just really felt into this. And so if you can see in these trackers, I had some flare-ups here. There's the end of this first week, there was a lot going on. And so even though I have this assistant named Sydney. So Sydney here does many things. So on this creative week, which I kind of indicated with these butterflies here, I thought it'd be something that I would probably do, that I am categorizing with stickers in a way. And so I can see like butterflies. And, you know, as the year progresses in her life, she might use different indicators. But so this is like creative. This is creative. Yet this other kind of one, I used it for two different things. So like for the accounting week, and then also for, oh, I didn't do it actually here. It's only on the monthly. So that's for accounting week. But if you go back to the monthly here, I did use those same ones to indicate my appointments. I do find visually that it really helps to have kind of like an anchor type icon or color or something to go, okay, I gotta zero in on these because they are appointments. So Sydney works part-time for me, and she's averaging about 20 hours a week here. Let me get situated here again. And so she's coming over to my place, where my studio is. It's just out of my home, might be in the back of my house. That's just a room there that I can use. And she not only is like picking up my mosaics, and they could be anywhere from like this size up to about this size. They're not giant. I'm not doing like really big ones, but they're like things to put out in the garden, broken up, you know, trying to take like broken up pottery or plates or dishes or things and trying to turn them into new items. And so she comes over and she picks up my finished pieces so she can prep them for sales on the website and sales on the weekend events here. And because my joints hurt a bit, she's also helping to break up those pieces, and she's sourcing some things. So I need to also make sure I'm paying her for that, actually. This is just kind of an hour each day. She's picking up things and dropping off, and then she has the event here. So I want to be fair to her too, but then, and then, no buts there. I'm going to be fair to her. And so she also came this last day of my work week. I couldn't really do any creation here, but she's picking up things right before this event. On weeks here that she's not coming over all the time, I would put here, I should put here kind of the same area, because I'm kind of tracking hours in here for my own business a little bit. I would put Sydney, and then she's probably doing another 20 hours here for thrift stores. So I'll put thrifting and breaking. So yeah, because of that joint pain, and I've never done tile work, but I know those like hand, kind of like you squeeze it and it breaks the item. So they're much smaller and you can use the different colors. And so, yeah, she's going out to thrift stores, finding these things, breaking them up, bringing them over. And then I have these creative weeks. So let me go over that. So I highlighted because this person is a little bit more also meticulous in how they're using their time, especially with some chronic illnesses. On these weeks that she's creative, she's limiting from like 2 hours and 2 hours at a time here. And I thought about like, could I indicate something else in here? And I don't think so. I think she's keeping it simple, having just a bit of a slower morning. So from like 8 to 9, she's having a slower intro into her day, but she has definitely this rhythm and this routine in the mornings. And so if we're working for 2 hours, you know, she might be kind of bent over and needing breaks and stuff like that. I could put on here like walking times, I guess, but maybe that's kind of loose too. Excuse me. So, yeah. And then for the weekends here, there's also always like a setup. And so it takes a couple hours, at least sometimes 3 or 4 hours to set up a booth. I'm trying to keep it like, let's think of this as more simple, like it's heavy items. So definitely it takes a lot to get everything. I've had a few booths, but I wasn't selling anything, but I know it takes a lot to do that. And so, yeah, having that set up. And then if you leave it for the next day, you can kind of wrap up in that last hour so that when people are kind of leaving, they're ready to go. So she's not needing to do a whole lot when she leaves. But then there's probably another hour to kind of set up in the morning of the next one. And then there's definitely the breakdown. And that usually goes a lot quicker. Sometimes people get it done in about an hour. So I'm tracking her hours for the week here. These are hours she's giving me, right? Like, I'm not dictating like she has to be in that. I'm just kind of recording what she actually did. Because these are like finished spreads is what I'm thinking. So, and I did want to make sure I don't miss this dietitian appointment here. So yeah, I'm like being creative and then having this weekend, but with craft fairs, you don't get to control what they are. So this craft fair happens to be, on a work week. So this is where I'm sitting down and doing more bookkeeping. And these are my open hours. And so I'm seeing clients who have, a bunch of, transactions I'm processing and questions I'm answering and stuff. So I did between the 2 work weeks. There are some people like Debbie and John here, for example. I had to keep coming up with names. So that was like one of the harder parts. And you can see like I contact them every 2 weeks because maybe they have a whole lot more going through. And so I'm touching base with them and making sure, whether it's video call, phone call, whatever it is, of like answering any questions about certain transactions. How should I, do anything? But that's part of my support is, making sure those are happening. And then there's some that don't appear, like Robin is consistent. Chris here had to reschedule to over here because he had something going on. Who knows? And then some people just don't need it. They only need it once a month. So like Lisa here is like a once a month. And then I'm doing like reconciling, getting it all done by the end of the week, but I'm doing it just every 2 weeks. So I don't know what it's like to be a full-time accountant, just like I don't know, full-time photographer. This is as much as I know. Like, I just know that when I'm doing my books, I usually do them on Mondays, and I just kind of picture like, you have to make sure everything balances and everything's categorized and that kind of thing. And then there's reports to run. So anyway, that's kind of how I pictured that. I could see this person like writing like meals in here. Maybe. See, that's a key thing that sometimes it's good to have on here, but I think because she's using this for all her work and creative, what was really important was to have almost like more regimented times to eat during the day. Sometimes that can be really important for some of these conditions. PCOS and Crohn's are the main ones I wanted to just identify with, but there could be other things going on here. So, maybe that's why she's having a blood draw, or maybe she's, just making sure everything's on track. So, yeah, and then Sydney's still working well. And she wouldn't need to necessarily pick up here. Sydney wouldn't. But it might be good to actually mirror that. So it's usually around 4 o'clock. Let's do it for just like 2 days this week, because there isn't, you just want to get all the inventory to her so she can start. And this is saying like increase stock for the Saturday market starting in March. So that's true. And let's do here. Now, I don't know when in March that is, but when you have a booth there, it's something that, you know, you're doing weekly. And this, I don't know if it opens the first week of March. Let's see. Every weekend from March to December. So maybe she's starting up here. Maybe I should put, I'll put this actually. And I forgot some of these stickers, I have to say, if I don't put them on my skin, they will tear paper, just like right here. I tried to pull this up, and I don't know if it's because they're a little older. Because usually when I have a fresh one, it's not quite that bad. So let's put, I was putting these at the very top at the 6 a.m. mark. Now this is only on a Saturday. And I love that pink here. This deep pink is what I'm trying to coordinate here. So maybe Sydney's coming over every day then, because yeah, that's a strong start. I was thinking maybe later in March, but if you have a spot there, like, you generally want to come every single week. So I think I wrote it, yeah, at the top here. Like that. And then I ran out of stickers. I used everything. And I didn't dive into any of these. I was just looking here to see if there's like one. Let's see, that could kind of be disguised as, let's just use this little green guy. This one's kind of, doesn't really matter. So, and she would probably get there pretty early, probably around 7. I don't know what the hours are. See, I'm just playing around, but I am, oh, here we go, hours. 10 to 5. Okay. Okay. See, I like to use like real information. So 10 to 5. And then we'll have takedown, and so I would think they would be able to start at 8. So I don't think they need to do, in my fantasy here, we don't have to do 7. Let's put some dots here for that, and then anything else here? Definitely, what did I do on that work week? So Sydney picked up 4 on a Friday. And then, yeah, this is just kind of how I've been doing things. So there's a couple pickups here. I'm increasing stock. Let's put next week. Whoops. I'll erase that a little bit there, but I was trying to put a K and then an exclamation point to have that like on my radar there. And so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How did I'm trying to keep it consistent here. So Sydney, 10, and then 11. She's probably doing other things here. I'm thinking she's coming here too. So why did did I have? Oh, total. Since I like to do things for with the template, then it's like, so 10. Let's say she does 5 other hours doing other things. So yeah, that's like a part-time gig. I mean, definitely it'd be a busy time here too. I'm thinking, but see, I'm not creating in here. So I'm going to put this up to 20. We don't need to know what Sydney's doing. We just have to know what I'm doing. But I do want to be thinking like I'm providing like a very appropriate 20 hours a week kind of position. So no, that's really cool. I like having that as kind of the ending to this story because I grew up going to Saturday market. It's just amazing. And now we have our own market that we go to here in the Netherlands. And so yeah, that's, oh, I should also put it on the monthly here. So right here. And I'm thinking, let's see, because I don't revisit these characters in another month unless they cross over in some way, shape, or form. But like when this goes into March here, it's its own thing, right? It's a different person. It's let's see. Beautiful. I love that. So it could be very plain in here. I'm not tracking, like, at least I can see like where my work weeks are. That was like the most important. But she's, you know, focusing on, I didn't want to put any highlighter on here. I liked this, you know, plain enough. And just like I had like a downtime here. Oh, there's some fun things on there. I forgot. So like, what would I do for fun? Okay, let me think about that real quick. I'm going to put in some items because I did not think about the fun parts. And I think that's really part of the dangers of, hey, you know, you're creative here, you're doing work here, but a little too work centered. So let me really think real quick on that. And like, it's not going to be a lot, but I want to put something here. And let me think about the meals thing. I'll be right back. Okay, I came up with some things here, and definitely, well, I would say, let me put books here because it's kind of, if you ever go to Portland, Oregon, Powell's Books. So yeah, here's like a Tuesday. Sometimes they have new releases there that may be something I was interested in going and picking that up. I do like to browse, but I also like to just kind of get in and out. So it's just kind of traveling there, coming back, having a little brain break on a Tuesday here. This is art time, so I have a little bit more time to do things. And then here would be like garden prep, because in February you're starting your seeds up. So it's mainly an indoors thing, and definitely like focusing on indoors type activities here. And so estate sale definitely is one here. And I think I might say like one in Selwood. And then one in Laurelhurst. That says Laurelhurst. Those are some really nice areas. So, yeah, I'll put plural here, sales. Just kind of hitting up a few. And I can go and do that while my assistant is doing some of these things. Now, she's finding some things at thrift stores. She's breaking them down. She's also just doing some quick reels for like Instagram, and nothing like real high key, but just like, here's the search, and then here's like what it all comes together with. And maybe while she's coming over to my house here, she's just doing a little bit of filming of like step by step. So it's very light, but also it adds up quickly. And so this might be bigger. I did an hour for each of those, so whatever. It doesn't have to be exact, right? I'm kind of also thinking about highlighting these in like the taupe kind of color here, just so that they're standing out a little bit more. Yeah, that's better. And so here, definitely on a work week like this, I don't think I'd be going anywhere, but there's this indie film on Saturday that I wanted to catch, so that's why that is there. I really feel like I want to put dinners in here, but I just don't want this to be too much. Let's see. What other fun things? Oh, I didn't do the other two. So let me fill it in those real quick, and I'll be right back. Okay, let's bring this all, wrap this all up here. So, yeah, I did go over most of this. I also put little squares around the 6s. I also imagine this person doing something like a HelloFresh or some kind of delivery meal kit. So far, I haven't mentioned any, who she's living with. And I don't know who that would be. I don't think any kids, so like maybe a partner, but just focused on like that is like a quitting time. Well, the quitting time's up here, but like that's a focus of just focusing on the meal, just doing something really quick and easy, something that is aligned with my diet and dietitians and stuff, and what the dietitians are saying is okay. And what I'm focusing on for that, so health-wise. But yeah, I just thought it anchored it a little bit better down here. To me, it just kind of is like, that's the close of the day, that's the open of the day. And I could put little to-do lists down here, but I feel like she has it on her phone or something, like a digital to-do list that she's like, oh, I need to like pick up these things at the store, and then maybe none of that is in here. I think she wants this to be a bit more aesthetic, whereas, for here, it's like, it's a little bit more quick and dirty. I got to pick these things up. I got to do these things. But yeah, after a big long weekend, just, an indie film there. But then I thought, oh, maybe after her specialist, she thought, okay, I'm closer to being in the city and being close to like one of my friends, and why don't we have like a quick coffee here, and then actually having a brunch with Sydney, my assistant, and like celebrating. So of getting through these two previous events here, because this is like big stuff, and having like some downtime here, and like, we'll talk shop too, but just kind of saying, well, the market's about to start up, so focusing on that. And then here I thought it would be nice to actually go to the market, being that this is the first day. And sometimes it's nice to have the creators there, and wanted to kind of check in at the booth and be there for a little while and connect with some of the people coming by, but then also going around and seeing the other vendors, because I'm probably like friends with them, and just kind of taking some time there. So maybe up to like 2 hours there, but not being there all day because I couldn't do it all. So and the last little detail here, if something was happening at 6 here, I wasn't gonna put little squares. It's just wherever they would fit. But sometimes, stuff was in the way. So it's just more of a visual marker of like, that's ending. Yeah, I don't see a bunch of lists in here. I just don't see it. I think this tracker is enough. I think the lists are maybe on maybe a little cheap notebook she's taking around, or just in her phone. Yeah, I have to say, these deep dives, and this paper is just, I'm going to take this off because that's where I ripped the paper. I don't know. Oh, I should transfer some of these over. I keep forgetting things, but it's something that, like, these I don't need to be anywhere, but let's put the estate sales, because that would be something that I would want to get on there. And then the indie film, I think, would just be like, oh, I just checked that day, and then I would go. And then these two items I think are kind of important. So 11 a.m. Tuesday the 18th. So that's like right after. And that's with and then 10 o'clock the 22nd. Okay, so I'm kind of wondering about putting those in a color here. Because I like, just having this little bit of tan in here, brown, whatever it is. This check-in is like something I wouldn't normally do. So, and like this is a timed event, depending on that day. And like these two things here, again, I don't want to do the pink. And I want to keep these with just stickers, but I think... no, I think we'll do that. I think we'll just a little less is more on those. So this is my monthly spread here, and then where does it start here? Here we go. My monthly. Let me get on the camera. My goodness. So this is my monthly spread, and then my weeklies here for this persona. She doesn't have a name. She just has a thing that she enjoys doing. Things, plural. Yeah. So we'll send her off to the Saturday market and the start of a new season of that. We have she has seeds, germinating, ready for her garden. She has art that's upcoming, and a really good foundation of clients, every other week. So we'll see what March brings. March is going to be quite a departure. I will say that. And yeah, that one will be interesting. I think I need to do a little bit more research. Again, kind of like this, where there was quite a lot of research to kind of go and figure these out. But I also think, when I fill these in here, it's going to help. But things change. Like as I'm doing it, I feel like things are changing. So I don't know how much I could put here for like a summary. I think I'm doing it after, because I'm like, oh, should I try this? Should I try this? So yeah, that is my February in my personas. Let me know what you think of this. I'm having a lot of fun, but I'm picking up my head right now to look out the window, and it's quite the whiplash of like, where am I? Like, I'm really going deep and imagining where I'm at, and having, you know, thought all about Portland and remembering like a bunch of stuff I did there. It's something to like look around here and realize I'm in the Netherlands. Like, that was when I was living in Portland, that was never on my radar. So I don't know. I'm really enjoying it, but it's also quite a lot to, I don't know, just balance everything. So, but I'm having a lot of fun, and I think this is just really important work to like reflect upon for my own like healing and thoughts and richness of what life brings, because sometimes I just forget about the past and just kind of move on a little too quickly. So yeah, I think this is just really helping to look back on my life as a whole. Consider subscribing, consider liking on the way out, consider leaving a comment about what you think about this whole series. Is this too much fantasy, is escapism, which I guess we kind of need right now? Or do you like it? Take care, everyone, and I'll see you next time. Bye.